Hey everyone, welcome back to the Box Office Dynasty. I'm Josh.
And I'm Jack.
And man, not a lot happened this week, right, Jack? No, it's been a pretty quiet week,
Nothing
obviously.
happened, actually.
Nothing to talk about, so obviously a light episode. No, but what's up? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How about you, buddy?
Not too bad. It's just another week. Today, as of recording, today is Monday. Today's the first day of fall.
And it still feels like summer.
I don't know. I mean, it's like a little breezy now.
It's been like 75 degrees for the last few days over here.
Yeah, but think about summer as like 90s. Like it is
I know. Nowadays, summer's like
noticeable
100 degrees.
I know, right? It's like
Shit's
living in
crazy.
Phoenix everywhere. So it's like it does feel like a noticeable drop off. I feel
Remember when
like
it
in
used to snow?
temperature. Dude, facts. Remember when it
Remember
used to
that?
snow? Well, sometimes we'll get like a little bit, but I feel like we don't get blizzards anymore. That's actually
I'm
a
kind
really
of
good
glad we
point.
don't, because I hate driving in the snow.
Yeah, and like, oh, well, yeah, cleaning off the car.
Yeah, that shit, you clean up the car, you're already running late, and then you get outside and you realize your car's full of snow, and you're like, oh, fuck.
Dude, it's the worst. You gotta like warm it up. Your hands are freezing.
And you're just brushing all the shit off.
Brushing everything off. Oh my god, it's awful. And when you have like, I drive a bigger car too. I have like an SUV, so there's more.
You gotta
car.
like reach farther.
Yeah, like there's more. It's
It's
bigger. I know. I'm like an average height guy, I guess. So it's like I gotta really get in there. And
you got more car to clean.
yeah, literally more car to clean. But anyway, that's pretty much that. So we got a jam-packed episode today, I'd like to think. We're going to review our latest Bible study. What? What was so?
Nothing. It was just funny they said that.
Oh, all right. We're going to review our Bible study, our latest film, which was the Americanization of Emily. So we're going to get into all of that. Then we're going to go over the most recent box office numbers. Then we're going to get into the big news of the week, obviously, all the controversy and everything surrounding Jimmy Kimmel and his show. Then we're going to review the film Him that came out this past weekend, as well as the new trailer, Mandalorian and Grogu. We're just going to talk about that a bit, as well as some other news, and of course, Seesaw at the end. So a pretty nice episode that we have here for us this week. And real quick though, before that, I just wanted to say, I don't know if you saw this. I always like to have like a tiny, like news, like something that's not a segment worthy, but always just something to mention. Well, actually, interestingly enough, last week, remember I talked about Sean Astin in this part in the intro. I was like, Sean Astin got named the SAG-AFTRA president. This week, the DGA, the Directors Guild, has just elected Christopher Nolan as the next president of their guild. And I just thought, since I brought up Sean Astin last week, it was like, you know what, I might as well bring it up in this week's intro. But yeah, that's exactly my reaction. I was like, that's probably something Christopher Nolan should be president of.
I was like, he should have been for the last couple of years, actually.
Yeah, I feel like that, I mean, I don't know who else should be the president of that.
Who was the last one? Anyone like were noteworthy?
Oh, I did not even think to look that up. I didn't see that. Let me see if I can look that up super quick.
Because I wonder if it's someone that we know of or know the work of at least.
Who did he take over for? It's just coming up with Christopher Nolan. Maybe it was no one we really know. So
nobody. Well, someone. If you're interested in that, just Google it yourself.
But yeah, I mean, everything's at like your fingertips. I got it. Leslie Linka Glatter.
No idea who that is. So
me neither. So
my
anyway, but congrats to Christopher Nolan on a very obvious achievement. That wasn't even what I was going to say. I literally just remembered that. I was just going to ask if you heard about Martin Scorsese's the announcement for his next film, because it sounded really cool.
No, Marty and I haven't talked in a while. He's a friend. Okay. He's a friend of the show. He's an avid watcher. But you spoke to him recently. So what did he say? What is the
well, it was funny. So we recently got lunch, and we went to Panera. It was great. And
you guys know I love Panera, so it's kind of fucked up. But all right, whatever. Marty knows that, so whatever.
You were at work. You know what I mean?
All right, fair enough.
So I had gotten out before you, I guess. I don't know.
I work harder than Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, you know what? And that was something we talked about, and he is taking that into consideration for his next film, Jack.
Okay. All right, cool.
Anyway, he announced that, or I don't think he announced it, but it was announced by Deadline that Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence will star in his next film. It'll be called What Happens at Night. This one, similar to Killers of the Flower Moon, will be backed by Apple. It's a thriller that follows an American couple who travels to a small, snowy European town to adopt a baby, except nothing in the town is quite as it seems.
Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I know.
I
It's
like
almost
both those
like
actors.
I wonder how, like, if there's going to be some sort of midsummer kind of vibe to it, like what
I was gonna
that's
say,
supposed to be. I mean, I don't know.
Could there be like a mystical, like kind of supernatural vibe to it? I don't know.
Yeah, which would be such an interesting twist for a Martin Scorsese movie. I feel like the closest we've ever gotten to that is Shutter Island. And even that wasn't like fantastical. It was more about just this misperception of perception, I guess.
Right.
Which is,
yeah, there was no supernatural element. It was just a crazy. Enough spoilers for Shutter Island. It's just a psycho. It's just a crazy guy.
You know, that movie came out in like 2010 or something. I feel like it's fair game.
Yeah, it is fair game. Leo's a psycho in that, but whatever.
Anyway, so I just wanted to see your thoughts about it because it sounds great, and Martin Scorsese's obviously the GOAT. So two directors doing some really great things. That brings us to our first segment of the day, our big segment, which is Bible study.
Yes, sir. So we asked viewers to send us numbers, and they just comment numbers on any form of social media that we have, any post that we have. Just comment a random number, and that number coincides to a movie in the New York Times 1,000 Essential Movies to Watch. It's a book we have. We call it the Film Bible. So the movie that we randomly picked from the numbers you guys gave us was the Americanization of Emily. So we both watched that. When did that movie come out? It's like 1960s, 70s?
1964.
1964. So it was black and white. Do you want to go first for your review? Or your rating, I mean?
Sure. Oh, I didn't think of a fucking thing for this one.
You'll think of one. I'm sure you will. There's a very obvious one that I thought you would pick, so I picked a different one.
All right. I think I got it.
All right, so this is for our Film Bible movie, The Americanization of Emily.
I gave this film 7 D-Day movies out of 10.
All right, I'll do what I thought you were going to say. I give this movie 6.5 Hershey bars out of 10.
Oh, yeah.
I think you were going to say Hershey bar, and then I had Jim Beam as a backup. Because I saw boxes of Jim Beam everywhere in that movie.
I should have thought of that. You know what, though? That was like my top note that I wrote down about this, like in this section of my notes for the episode. I wrote, "This is the craziest Hershey chocolate ad."
I saw that really in your Letterboxd review.
That was my Letterboxd review, and I was like, "This is true. It's true. It is like literally the way that like they use just fucking product, and that's like way before product placement was like."
1960s product placement.
You know what I mean? And it like the way it bookends itself, it comes back around. She's like it's like one of the last lines of the movie. She's like, "I think I'll have that Hershey chocolate now." It's like, I was like, "No fucking way."
They could play that as like the intro to a ride at Hershey Park. You know, when they show a screen first when you go on rides and stuff.
Now that would be actually pretty. Everyone would be like, "What is this? I have never heard of this in my life."
This movie was fine. I thought it was okay. I thought parts of it were like seriously boring, and then I thought other parts of it were pretty good, and I thought they had some great shots for a movie in 1964 in black and white. I thought there were great shots, like him landing on the beach, him like you know, what is it called, like drifting onto the beach and waking up, and the explosions going off and the water rushing. I thought that was a really cool shot. I thought it was okay. Yeah, it was a fine movie.
I actually agree with the take in terms of there being really fun parts and there being really boring parts. I think that's accurate. I really found that this film was anchored by the performances of James Garner and Julie Andrews.
Yeah,
because they were really great.
They were really good.
Like this is going to be a weird maybe a weird note, but I actually thought that like the audio was very crisp for its time.
Yeah. Now that you mention that,
You
it
know?
sounded like a modern day
Like
movie.
like it sounded like they were all mic'd up and they just didn't have
Yeah.
that kind of technology back then.
It didn't sound like a guy on a
Um
radio like Roger, like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, they would I guess if they're recording on a set, they would have the mic, they would hang the mics, they would it wouldn't sound that good. And
no.
yeah, they wouldn't have that like almost surround. It wasn't surround sound, but almost that kind of feeling that it had. Did you watch this on Tubi?
Yeah, of course I did.
Yeah, okay, me too. I
Yeah.
was like, that's where it is.
Like, I've only
Um,
watched, like, 2 movies ever on Tubi.
yeah, this being one of them, I think for me too. But I like that's where I watched it, and I was just thinking that, and I do I'm not saying that like James Garner and Julie Andrews have a part in the sound engineering of the time period, which of course credit to the people who actually were behind that, but just their, I guess, articulation and their kind of energy that they brought to these performances just really I keep using the word anchored because that's how it felt. Like, it really, I kept coming back into this film with interest after the points where it would be kind of a snooze fest, mainly because they were keeping it very interesting. And that's not to say there wasn't narrative elements that were also interesting, like the whole needing to come up with, like, I used the D-Day films because that was kind of a big plot going on there. Like, we need to, save the Navy from being overshadowed by the army. So when we attack on D-Day, we need to make a film where of the first death on Omaha Beach, and that person needs to be a sailor. And
Yeah.
they're like, the whole running gag of the Tomb of the Unknown Sailor. Like, there was interesting gags and bits and narrative elements that were fascinating, but without Garner and Andrews, the whole thing, no pun intended, washes away. Like,
Yeah, like, this is how I felt about, I think I said the same thing about maybe Fat City or M. I mean, all these movies, all these, um, films, Bible study movies, I feel like most of them, at least, I keep messing up everything. There's too many titles for things,
I
you
know.
know?
I actually kind of get that. I'll be like, this was called that and what, and Film Bible and boxes and
But I feel like a bunch of these movies are, they have better movies, like, underneath. You know, like, this movie has such an interesting plot, but the main plot that I was interested in, the D-Day movie aspect of it, that doesn't even come into play until like 45 minutes into the movie when the admiral starts losing his mind. Like, you don't see that until like 45 minutes into this movie. And the movie is 2 hours, so it's before, the halfway mark, but I just felt like there was too much buildup and the movie wasn't done as well as it could have been with the plot they had set up already.
you know what's interesting, actually, is that what did you exactly say? That there's a great movie underneath.
Yeah.
Um, I wonder how much of that is with these films. Is it that the great movie is underneath, or that it was a great movie at its time and it's maybe the great movie underneath? How do I want to word this? The reason it feels that way is because of the time, the way it's aged. Like, maybe these movies, parts of them, they're just struggling to age into the modern era of cinema. And so, especially from like a narrative sense, the way we interpret storytelling as viewers. And so I wonder, like, that's why I'm opening this right now, because what we don't take advantage of with the film Bibles that we have here is that, because we're always just looking at the table of contents for the
Right.
numbers inside our reviews from the time period. And so like, from each time period, it's like time capsules. And so I'm not sitting here saying I'm going to read the whole review. I just am like kind of skimming. I'm just curious what people's thoughts were at the time then, to see, like,
Yeah.
to compare to our criticisms now and see, did they have those criticisms at the time? Did they think about these things at the time? or was it considered great and maybe these elements have just aged rather poorly?
That's a good point. I mean, maybe it's like, you leave something out in the rain too long and a moss starts growing over it and now we're looking at it through the overgrowth, which is just time.
Yeah, exactly. And we're like, all right, well, this looks like shit, but no, like, well, maybe not if you think it like looks beautiful
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
moss, but I digress. See, this is why we never have time for enough things, Jack, because of my stupid ass.
Yeah.
There's still the
Yeah, no
beautiful stone
shit.
underneath. Well, you know what?
Yeah, there's the beautiful stone
At
underneath. That is
least
a
I
great.
acknowledge it.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
but anyway, so
Wait, we got
I'm just like skimming. I'm just
existential
curious.
for a second. The
Yeah, we
moss
did.
covers the stone, but there's always that beautiful stone underneath. The beautiful stone of cinema.
It sounds like this person was a little uh yeah, okay. Listen, I'll just like listen to the way he wraps it up, or whoever this is that wrote it. The
Okay.
review was written on October 28th, 1964, and they say under Arthur Hiller's brisk direction of Mr. Chayefsky's script, obviously I don't know if I said that right. Which includes some remarkably good writing with some slashing irreverence, the Americanization of Emily comes out a spinning comedy that says more for basic pacifism than a fistful of intellectual tracks. I cannot read. It is also highly entertaining and it makes a good case for pure romance. So it seems like they didn't think that the film had as much to say about the politics of that it was engaging with regards to World War II and, Germany and the United States, but that it was still this witty comedy. And I
Yeah,
will
is this a
say,
rom-com?
well, I think in some ways it wants to be,
I think so
but
too.
there's not enough of the romantic plot.
That's what
Like
I
that's
think.
like
Like
the
that review makes it
name
sound like it was a rom-com.
the name well, I only read like the last paragraph,
Oh,
obviously. But like there was like the name of the movie is the Americanization of Emily, and there's not enough Emily in the movie. And enough of her relationship with Charles.
honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I keep forgetting what this movie's called. So, like, I didn't even know her name was Emily until like 45 minutes into the movie. I was like, oh, that's Emily?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, I forgot.
Yeah, like, and she gets Americanized, I guess. Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It almost felt more like the Englishification of Charles because we spend so much time with him and like
I know.
the reason it's called this is the whole thing is supposed to be the like it highlights their relationship at a time that England and the United States are obviously at war, not with each other, but at war in World War II.
World War II,
And
yeah.
it's supposed to highlight how their different cultures and their different countries um deal with wartime and how their relationship, how those identities clash. And so that's why this review from the Film Bible kind of is saying like maybe it doesn't say so much about that as it wants to say, but that it still makes for a good enough romance. And I don't even know that it does make for a good enough romance because it doesn't have as much of those elements. The reason I give it as high of a rating, like I say, is the wonderful performances, and there are some really interesting sequences. The sound is great. So there's a lot of elements at play. But that stone moss thing is a pretty good analogy here because it is kind of like that.
Yeah, this is also the lowest rated film Bible movie that we've seen so far. At least on this podcast.
On Letterboxd.
On Letterboxd. Which is like it's funny because that's how I look at ratings for movies now because I just trust Letterboxd users more than I do like critics at any company or anything like that. Yeah, it only has a 3.6 and the next lowest one has a 3.9. So it's pretty low compared to the others.
Well, do you have it rated as the lowest though?
I don't. I think it's better than I gave it a 3 stars, but I still think it's better than La Adelante and The Great Dictator. And Fat City.
I gave it 3.5 stars. It's like on the lower end of that 3.5. to be nitpicky, but
yeah,
I
mine's
have
on a
it,
higher 3. I gave it 6.5.
yeah. So, like mine would probably be like a flat, like 7 out of 10, but I only had it ranked higher than La Adelante and Fat City. So we're
Yeah,
kind
so
of in an agreement.
exactly. I just didn't like The Great Dictator as much as you, obviously.
Right, but in general, like we're like, yeah, okay, this was a bit better. Like to me, this was similar to Fat City in that same sense of what
that's
you
why
were
they're right next to
talking
each other
about.
for my list.
I just thought that this had a little bit more of an entertaining upside at parts.
I do too. Fat City was so boring.
Yeah,
This
for a
had some
film
cool
that has
shots.
to do with boxing, you would think it would be a little more interesting.
But both those movies kind of make promises to their audience, at least the way they're, I don't want to say like marketed, but the way I went in going into, I went into the movie thinking it'd be about a certain thing. That was just not there as much as I expected. The stuff with the wartime movie and the romance, and then with Fat City, anything to do with boxing or the relationship between the two main characters, none of that was there.
Yeah, I know. And well, the wartime romance, it was there, just it's not enough.
Exactly, yeah.
And with the like, that's the thing. Everything that you said, it was pretty much there. It's just to not to the degree that I think either of us were expecting, really.
Yeah, or wanted. I wanted more. I expected more, and I wanted more.
Yeah, me too. Hence the ratings, and obviously, I think our ratings being different is just more about how we individually like value things in film, like aspects of films.
Yeah.
Different traits and elements, but overall it seems like we kind of see the same way. But it is true that there was some funny stuff here, like, and I made a note of it because I thought it was so funny. The scene that Charles barges in on the guy having sex because he needed the demolition order, or he, not that he needed it, he was getting the demolition order and he needed him to like make the call, and she was like, oh my god, she thought she was in trouble.
Yeah, she was running around the room.
She's like running all around the room, like trying to figure it. And they're just like ignoring her every now and then, except for every now and then they're like, "What the fuck? Shut up! This is not about you."
They're really like, "Shut up, bitch!" Like,
this is like not about you. It was like, I know. I was like, all right, this is a little kind of, this did not age well. But I was like, the idea was funny. I was like, the idea of him barging in for the demolition order and her like, it was funny.
Yeah, it was funny.
So there was good comedic upside to this film, I would say. And I think that was part of what would allow, I don't want to say both of us, but it seems like both of us to come back into it every now and then as well.
Yeah, I wasn't fully distancing myself while I was watching it. It brought me in every now and then. I kept my focus, and I was like, all right, I liked some of this, and I don't like the other parts. Like, that's how it is.
Yeah, like the scene when they finally are doing the D-Day movie too. I was like,
yeah,
it was that was all pretty interesting to watch. I mean, I think that about does it. I mean, it's there. Again, you always say this. This is your thing. I'm gonna take it. Like, I don't regret watching it. I'm glad I watched it. Not gonna watch it again.
I do say that.
But
you have to make the shittiest possible movie for me to like want those hours of my life back, and actually regret watching it and spending my time watching it.
And I think that's it's a good way for me to make this comment. Like, I think that says a lot about us as lovers of movies in general and watching movies, that it's like, it's not everything you're gonna watch is gonna be your favorite film or is gonna be the greatest thing. And so you can't like have that expectation when you watch stuff, and so like, you may not love it, but it's like, all right, it was good. I see the good stuff about it. I have criticisms, but like, I watched it. That's part of this being a hobby,
exactly,
so to speak.
It's part of the experience.
It's part of just it being, and like, not even and hobby is such a, I don't even know, just word about it. Just like as a thing that you love, just a passion. Part of it is like saying, all right, this wasn't the greatest thing, but I'm still glad I watched it. And that's how we both feel, I would say, about the Americanization of Emily.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, so those are our reviews for the Americanization of Emily. Make sure to comment more Bible study numbers. Just throw a comment down on any of our pages or whatever. Throw a number down, and we'll add it to the rotation. And maybe we'll pick your number. We're picking a number in. Is it next week? Are we picking
next week?
Next week we're picking another number, and then 2 weeks after that we'll review the movie that we watched.
Yeah, very exciting. I love this segment. It's a lot of fun.
It's fun, actually, because I would never watch these movies otherwise.
You know what? Some of these I hadn't heard of. I never like, and I know a lot. I've seen so many movies. I know a lot about movies. I'd never heard of the Americanization of Emily in my life.
Yeah.
So, like, it's cool because this is a way for us to experience new cinema and old cinema, I guess, technically, but
You
new to
know,
us.
it's interesting. First of all, I'm looking at all the Film Bible movies we've watched. M is on the official top 250 narrative feature films. That's like Letterboxd.
Yeah.
They're 250 movies. M is number 152. But I'm trying to see which movie has the least and most reviews on Letterboxd, just to see what the most popular one is.
It's got to be Get Out.
Holy shit. Get Out has the most, of course. You're right. The Great Dictator is also on that top 250 list. The Americanization of Emily only has 614 reviews on Letterboxd.
I'm not surprised.
Every other one has at least like 4,000.
Yeah, well, it has 4,500 people mark it off as watched though.
As watched, yeah. So only 4,000 people who have Letterboxd have seen this. That's actually crazy.
Or at least that have it marked as watched. You know,
yeah.
There are movies on Letterboxd that I've seen that aren't marked as watched.
Oh, I try to every time I see one, I just try to.
Me too. But there are definitely ones out there.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So
there's too many.
Too many. So that's interesting. I didn't think about that actually, but it definitely had to be Get Out. And so do you think that's got to be? So wait, you confirm that's the least of all?
That's the least. I think the second least is Shock Corridor with 4,900 or something.
I'm surprised it's not La Adelante.
Oh wait, Corridor has 4.1 thousand and La Adelante has
5.4. You're right.
5.4.
Interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of French people.
A lot of Frenchies. Wait, is that a slur? My bad.
It might be though.
It actually might be. My bad. I take it back.
I don't know. You better get canceled. You should be Jimmy Kimmel's first guest. We'll get to that. All right. Well, I checked it off on the Bible.
I gotta do that.
So, alrighty. Well, I'm looking forward to the next one. I think that brings us to the box office numbers.
Yes, sir.
So we all know how this goes. Going to bring you guys the box office numbers, the top 5 domestic box office numbers from the weekend of September 19th through the 21st, which September 21st is a holiday, by the way.
What holiday?
Do you remember?
Okay.
The 21st night of September. That's a holiday.
Yeah, it is all. It should
Earth,
be
Wind,
national
and Fire.
holiday.
It should be like a federally recognized holiday. Banks are closed.
Get me off work.
Right? All right. Finishing in 5th place in its second weekend of release, making $6.3 million, is The Long Walk. In 4th place, making also $6.3 million in its second weekend of release as well. So a bit of a, I guess, tie, you could say. The Downton Abbey, the grand finale. So I guess Downton Abbey has a strong fan base of its own.
Okay. All right, Downton Abbey fans. All right, I see you.
We see you here. In 3rd place, making $11.8 million in its second weekend of release, Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, the movie Infinity Castle. My God,
Nice.
That is a mouthful.
Nice.
But that movie, holy shit, is at $555 million worldwide. How long has that been out around the world? That's insane.
550?
500. It's halfway to $1 billion.
What week is this?
Well, domestically, it's its second.
Holy shit. That's hitting $1 billion.
Yeah, but I don't know, like, it's hard to check, like, domestic weekends because it scatters, like, every country, you know what I mean? That's why all the domestics are just, all the box office numbers here are domestic and not international, but that's insane either way. In second place, sorry, I didn't know that heading into this.
No, that's
that
cool.
Totally sidetracked me.
No.
In second place, in its third weekend of release, making just shy of $13 million, is The Conjuring Last Rites. And in first place, in its first weekend of release, making $13.5 million. The Jordan Peele-backed film Him. I'm going to talk a little bit about that later on in the show. That wins the box office this weekend. Not much to talk about the box office otherwise, but I just want to highlight that there were a couple of other new releases this weekend that didn't finish in the top 5. The one notable one that I knew about coming into this, A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey, the new Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie
Yeah, it looks
film.
good.
I thought that was going to finish top 5. It finished 7th domestically in its opening weekend. It made only $2.6 million.
Okay, what was 6th?
That was a new release as well, a movie called The Senior.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it has something to do. I looked it up yesterday, actually, funny enough, and apparently, I'll read the description to you. It says, at 59, Mike Flint may be too old to be on a college football field. Yeah, no shit. But not too old to feel the weight of unfinished business. After nearly 4 decades, he returns to his alma mater to take the hit that changed everything. Bruised, doubted, and nearly broken, he pushes for one more game, not for glory, but for the teammates he lost, the family he fractured, and the ending he still believes is possible.
What, they base this off of Aaron Rodgers on the Jets?
Aaron Rodgers on the Steelers this season.
Bro, lost his teammates, had an injury.
It's like Bo Nix when he was in college for like 7 straight years instead of just going to the NFL.
Super senior?
Yeah, super duper senior, more like.
Oh my God.
Anyway, so that is your box office numbers for the weekend of September 19th through the 21st.
Yeah, cool shit, man.
Yeah, I see how interested you are
no, I'm just
tired.
In
the episode.
I'm a sleepy guy.
You had a busy day at work today, Jack?
Yeah, not really, but I was still sleepy.
Is that what made you sleepy? Because your mind wasn't activated?
I just did a little bit of work and did homework and stuff, and I fell asleep last night, the earliest I've fallen asleep in years. Also, I woke up early today to watch The Americanization of Emily, so...
Dude, do you ever watch it the day before, and like any day before the actual day of filming?
Sometimes it's the night before, but it like turns into midnight, so it's the same day.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, all right, wait. This is why we never have time, like I said, because it just made me think of something that's worth bringing up. So I'm curious if anyone else, I'm curious about other people's experience. When I'm watching a movie and it crosses midnight, how do I, the whole thing of deciding what day did I watch that on? I say it depends, because I always want to lean towards the day that I started it. Because of the whole thing in my head where it's it's not the next day until I go to sleep and wake up.
Are you
which is obviously not true.
Yeah. Are you talking about telling people when you watched it, or marking it down on your phone?
Both, just in general.
Because on Letterboxd it just does it the day after, technically.
But you can change it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Wait, what?
If I review a movie today, I could say I watched it 2 days ago?
Yeah, you can say you watched it when the fuck ever.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it marks it as today.
No. So that's why I'm saying, how do I decide when to say I watched it? The previous day or the next day?
If the majority of the movie takes place, you watch during the day before, then it's the day wherever the majority of the movie takes place.
That's what I was gonna say. But what would you do in a hypothetical that it was split down the center of a movie? You watch the first half before midnight and the other half after midnight down to the second. What would you say?
I'd count it as after midnight because at that point it's too much work to change the date. I just review it and submit
too much work to click the button. And
it's extra work.
But what about just in a conversation? If you came on the podcast, what day would you say you watched it?
Then I'd say I watched it the day before, because I'm still awake. Because
your fucking Letterboxd is not matched up now. What the
fuck? I know. One of them is lying.
But no, see, I would do the same though. I would say not the same with the Letterboxd, but I would say if it came down to that, I would say the day before because that's when I started it.
But you would mark it on Letterboxd as the day before also, if it was the exact down the middle?
Yes.
All right.
Because
I didn't know you could do that, so I've never done that. So I would just not start doing that.
Yeah. All right. I actually understand that. You're in a habit.
Yeah.
You're in a routine. So
sometimes I'll forget to review a movie and I'll review it the next day, but I just have it the next day. That is what it is.
See, I want for future reference when we're trying to figure out what we want to talk about in a show, to come back to that segment that we spent at least 3 minutes talking about if we watch a show before or after midnight as proof that things take longer to watch, to talk about than you'll maybe anticipate.
Well, we had a whole like 10, 15-minute segment at one of the early episodes that was like, is Tuesday worse than Monday or something like that?
Yeah, that's so true. So it's like,
do you remember that?
I do remember that. We're like, no, we're trying to figure out, and we're also like, what day of the week has the least amount of holidays on it?
Oh, yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was. Because we were like, yeah, it was both of those. We were like, Tuesday sucks. Oh, I don't want to get into it, but Tuesday sucks is what we're saying.
Tuesday does suck, and that is a point that still stands and will always stand in the show.
Exactly.
Anyway, let's move on, or not. Whatever. We'll stay here forever.
Let's get the fuck on.
All right. So obviously, fucking breaking news. We even made the joke in last week's episode. We actually did. Where fucking something big always happens right after we release our new episode.
Yeah, like the day after we record.
Not even the same fucking day. Well, yeah, last week we released the episode the day after we recorded. So yeah. But like,
oh, yeah.
The day we released last week's episode was then everything with Jimmy Kimmel broke out.
Yeah, so why don't you give a rundown of what happened?
We didn't get to talk about it on here.
Yeah.
It's kind of frustrating. Like, I just want to say, and I'm about to get into it, I spent like the whole like every day leading up being like, dude, I really need to like, I want to talk about this. I want to use the platform and talk this.
Yeah.
What's going on. And I had to wait the whole week for us to fucking record again.
I haven't done any of the research on it. I've just been seeing videos and clips and everything like that. But you've clearly done more research on it than I have. So like, Josh will explain, this is everything that's been going down with the whole Jimmy Kimmel situation and ABC.
Right. It's not so much that I'm trying to use this as like news. Everyone knows about it. This is about me wanting everyone to, I think it's important that people understand what actually happened here.
Yeah.
I'm going to start by saying this. I don't know if you saw the big news that Jimmy Kimmel is back.
Doing what?
What do you mean doing what? His show.
Well, like with ABC?
Yeah, it's coming back. Tuesday.
So we wait a whole week because he gets canceled, and the second we get back to record and talk about him getting canceled, he just gets his job back? Like nothing fucking happened?
He wasn't canceled for forever. He was suspended indefinitely is what it was.
Oh, because you know why though? Because I saw the Trump tweet that said Kimmel's canceled.
No,
like
he was suspended. He was suspended.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't know why I would take that a tweet from him as at face value like that.
Yeah, you should. In fact, you should always take it as the opposite.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why
when it comes to him. So no, I mean, I knew he would come back. I wasn't sure when, or not. All right, I didn't know he'd come back, but like, I had hoped. I didn't know when. Of course, it's the ironic thing is that it's tomorrow. We're recording this on Monday, so he comes back Tuesday. But when this comes out on Wednesday, he'll have already came back. He'll have already been suspended and come back in between fucking episodes.
That's actually crazy.
But we're still going to talk about it because it's by far the biggest thing going on right now.
What a return.
And it is worth having a conversation about, free speech over it. But first...
Yeah, we are going to get a little political for those watching. Just be prepared for some politics chat.
Right.
But it all has to do with media. We're not just being like, fuck this, fuck that. Like this has to do with media. It's not just a random politics rant.
Right. And don't blame us for the fact that it's happening. We talked about the tariffs at one point because of its impact on the entertainment industry.
Exactly.
So if you don't like it, you don't want to hear any more about it, you can skip ahead, but like, don't blame us for the fact that it's happening and the fact that we have to address it. But also, I don't know about you, but I want to address it. I want to give my thoughts and opinions, and that's the point of the platform. So, but you're right. Let's make clear about what happened. So, on September 10th, everyone knows Charlie Kirk, a far right, wing podcaster and someone who would go around to different colleges and universities and debate students on campus. He was assassinated. He was murdered by a 22-year-old by the name of Tyler Robinson. This happened in Utah. That is all factual.
Mm-hmm.
No politics behind it. Not my opinions on anything. That's just what happened. I'm not talking about Robinson's motives or anything. That's just what happened.
He killed him. That's it.
He killed Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was debating ironically, gun violence at that moment, but he was murdered. End of story. And so Jimmy Kimmel went on his show so that was September 10th when that happened with Kirk. He went on his show the following Monday, so a week ago, when we recorded the Emmy episode. And in his monologue, he did not really even talk about Charlie Kirk, who, by the way, when the shooting happened, Kimmel, along with many others on both sides of the aisle, came out and condemned the shooting and sent his condolences to Kirk's family. And condemned political violence, as should everybody. So he comes out in his monologue. This is what he says. And this is the quote. This is Kimmel. He says, "We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to categorize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and doing everything they can to score political points from it." Now, that's the first half of what he said. The second half, honestly, was that he went on to joke about Donald Trump's reaction when a reporter asked him about how he was dealing with the death of Charlie Kirk. Trump said he was doing very good and then quickly shifted the topic to discussing a new $200 million ballroom that's being added to the White House. That was actual footage of Donald Trump that Kimmel himself showed on his show. Then Kimmel said, yes, he's at the fourth stage of grief, construction, which, funny.
That's kind of funny.
It's funny. He said demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish. The biggest criticism I have of Jimmy Kimmel's joke and comments is that a 4-year-old would not mourn a goldfish like that, because a 4-year-old cannot have a ballroom added to the White House or any house. For a 4-year-old is not capable of making construction deals. So that is my one criticism of Jimmy Kimmel's joke.
That's true. He should have been more realistic with it.
If anyone should be offended, it should be the toddler community.
It should be 4-year-olds
who should be offended. 4-year-olds.
I do also want to point out that the joke is not making fun of Kirk in any way. It's making fun of Donald Trump. It's not talking ill of the dead. It's, I mean, he does say he's like a goldfish, but not in the way that's making fun of Kirk, in the way that's making fun of Trump and his reaction and his grieving, so to speak.
Well, and so, the thing that I think really angered everybody was the first part of his comments, where they felt that people online felt that Jimmy Kimmel was calling Tyler Robinson, the shooter, a MAGA, like saying definitively that he was part of MAGA. And that's not what he said, because what he actually said was that people in MAGA were trying to categorize him as anything other than MAGA. He didn't say he's MAGA. He said the people in MAGA are trying to do everything they can to prove that he's not one of them.
Right.
Which is true.
True. Yeah.
That's
exactly
what everyone was doing over the weekend online. That there's nothing not factual about it. And he said that they were trying to score political points from it. Also true. If you look at a lot of, and no one is accusing his family of doing that, but if you look at what a lot of people within the Trump administration are doing, and a lot of the reactions based off of this that we're about to get into, especially with Kimmel, it does kind of feel like people capitalizing off of an unfortunate instance of gun violence. And that's exactly what it is with Charlie Kirk. I'm going to be the first to say, this is the only part of this I'm going to address. You don't have to, it's not celebrating his death, and nobody should be doing that. You don't have to mourn him either, though. You can acknowledge the things he said in life that were really terrible, the rhetoric that he pushed that was filled with hate and racism and bigotry and anti-feminist and a lot of anti-LGBTQ. And, he definitely was a divisive person. There's no doubt about that. But it still is tragic to see him, like anyone else, become another statistic and victim of gun violence in this country.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, like, we don't know the motives of how he died, but to be killed for something you just said is pretty horrible. No
Right.
matter how badly we disagree, it's like nobody should die for their words.
Right, I totally agree. Even if his words are as insane as his, where he said
Exactly.
himself that the irony is that he did say that unfortunately gun deaths are necessary in order to protect the Second Amendment to help protect other God-given rights. His words
He did say
exactly,
that.
those
Yeah.
exact words. I didn't even leave out the last part. So, irony there. But that's not the point. That's not what I was getting into. Just addressing it since it's up here. The point being that there are people trying to score political points off of it. Maybe not everyone, but people are. It's just a fact. Maybe on both sides even, but it's just a fact. It's happening. And Kimmel himself was just pointing that out. So anyway, that's not even getting into what happened. That's just Kimmel, which is, so that's what he said. Right? I don't think, personally, not that bad. So then anyway, he ends up getting, the next day ends up getting suspended by Disney and ABC. And, everyone was like, oh, they have a right to do that because like everyone was up in arms, conservatives all over up in arms about what he said and falsely portraying what he said. Talk about media literacy. But let's be clear. Jimmy Kimmel was not suspended because of what he said about Charlie Kirk. That is not what happened. I don't know how much about this you know. So I'm gonna throw it out in the most concise way. It's gonna be very clear and very quick and honest. Nexstar is a broadcast company that owns a large portion of local stations across the country, right? They own the stations that bring all the shows that the networks produce. They want to purchase Tegna. Tegna is another company that owns local stations across the country. Currently, under the FCC's regulations, that is illegal. As under the FCC's current regulations, a company cannot own up to 50% of all local stations. There's monopolization rules throughout all industries in this country. Back in August, Brendan Carr, who is the chair of the FCC under Donald Trump, had said publicly that he was open to adjusting these regulations for Nexstar. So here we are. Nexstar has business pending before the government, and Trump, who we know has a long history with Jimmy Kimmel and late night in general, and we even saw a month ago Colbert, his show got canceled after this season.
Yeah, and Trump tweeted, Kimmel's next.
Kimmel's next, with CBS having similar pending business in front of the U.S. government. So we know all this. So then Charlie Kirk is murdered, and Carr goes on the Benny Johnson podcast. Benny Johnson is a radical far-right winger. And he threatens to revoke ABC's broadcast license if Disney didn't take action after the Kimmel comments. He, in quote, himself, there is video. Anyone out there, you Jack, and anyone out there listening to this show can go stop right now and find it yourself. The footage is out there. Anyone in MAGA who, I'm not just saying you in general, I'm just saying anyone in MAGA who tries to say this didn't happen, or that the FCC didn't have any part of this. It's out there. It's public. Yeah, Brendan Carr said, we can do this the easy way or we can do this the hard way. He said he was going to revoke their license. So barely hours later, what happens? Nexstar then decides that they are no longer going to air Jimmy Kimmel Live to their stations anymore. And they threatened that Disney needed to take action. So right after that, Disney and ABC get together and they discuss and they bend the knee, and reluctantly they decide to pull Kimmel off the air indefinitely, despite the numerous reports that executives in both Disney and ABC actually didn't really think that Kimmel's comments were that bad. Similarly, Sinclair, another company that owns local stations, demanded the same thing of Kimmel, that they were not going to bring him, his show to their stations. They were going to preempt it. They wanted him off the air unless he apologized and made a significant donation to Turning Point USA, which is Kirk's foundation or whatever. And guess what? Sinclair also has business pending in front of the U.S. government right now that requires them adjusting regulations regarding monopolization regulations. So, I think that right there is blatant that what actually happened is Trump had his FCC chair, Brendan Carr, put pressure on Disney, threatening to revoke their license to remove Kimmel over something that he said that Trump didn't like. We saw this happen months ago. This is not the first media company that Donald Trump has gone after. He has sued ABC, CBS, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, has attacked countless other media and free speech corporations. And, just because he didn't like what they said. And then, I don't know if you saw this. He said that 97% of broadcast networks' content are against him, and that he threatened to revoke their licenses as well. He's like, they can't do that.
That's insane.
Actually, they can. It's protected speech under the Constitution, the First fucking Amendment. So that's what happened. Kimmel did not get booted because of what he said about Charlie Kirk.
I'm going to throw some history out there for a second. John Adams, second president of the United States, terrible, terrible president. He passed the Alien and Sedition Acts and, against immigrants and stuff like that. But part of the Sedition Acts were, if you say anything bad about me, I'm throwing your ass in jail. And there was a guy there's a newspaper publisher named James Callender, and he said some bad stuff about John Adams. Boom, tossed right in jail. And I feel like we're getting to the point where this is getting repetitive, I mean, we're getting to the point where you say something the president doesn't like, yeah, you're fired. Yeah, you don't have a job anymore. Yeah, your company's going out of business. It's pretty scary.
I mean, he fires people, and he tweeted recently or whatever, Truth Socialed, to Pam Bondi. It seemed like something that probably should have been personal, where he basically was like saying, hey, the Department of Justice needs to find something on these people. They're guilty. I know they're guilty. Like, he's threatening his own political opponents. And I know we're not exactly going down that route of conversation right now, but it's the point of, like, this guy, it is similar. People throw around the word fascism because there's a lot of similarities to some of the occurrences in this country right now and some of the things that happened leading up to, in Germany in the 1930s. And no, I'm not saying that we're headed for a Holocaust or anything like that, but there is obviously a lot of authoritarian similarities, and that should be very frightening, especially
it's concerning.
State-sponsored media, which is what's being pushed. Apparently, Kimmel had the opportunity to go on Wednesday and apologize, and he wasn't going to do that. He wanted to go on and clarify his comments instead. But he basically apparently broadcasters, like, the government wants to basically give them a script about Kirk to be able to talk about. And this is the thing with Charlie Kirk. You can think whatever you want about him and what he said. I think the guy was a terrible person who said terrible things and had terrible rhetoric that is dangerous. And I think he perpetrated the violence that got him killed. And that's not to say that I'm accusing Tyler Robinson of being on the left, on the right, because here's the thing about that, to address that. We don't really actually know yet.
No.
Obviously some of the stuff on the bullet casings was kind of left-leaning rhetoric, or like, the whole catch that fascist, or like,
well, it said you're gay, was crazy.
Yeah, I know. It was wasn't that the one that hit him?
Was it?
I don't know. One of them.
I don't know.
I forget which of the ones that hit him. But anyway,
the last one they read was, if you're reading this, you're gay, and it's like, that's insane.
Yeah, I know. But, they haven't been, like, his family is MAGA, but his mom said that he had been left-leaning in the recent years, and obviously, like, there were reports about being in a relationship with a transgender partner, and all this crazy thing that people are trying to weaponize against groups of people. We don't know anything. We can't put this on an entire political party. It's political violence. Political violence is wrong, but at the same time, we can admit that he also pushed the rhetoric that got him killed, and perpetrated a lot of hate. And you didn't have to like him. It's not celebrating his death, but anyway.
What happened? So Kimmel got his job back, is what we're talking about.
So now, I will see what happens. Obviously, so Jimmy Kimmel apparently had been meeting with Disney and ABC for several days, having conversations. Now he supposedly will be back on the air tomorrow. So as of the release of this episode yesterday, Tuesday, September 23rd, and we'll see what he says. I mean, I sure hope he doesn't apologize or make a donation to Turning Point, because that's absurd. And what kind of precedent is that setting about freedom of speech?
There's no way he does that. He's smarter than that.
And I agree. We all need to tone down the political tension a little bit. But that doesn't mean that he should have to change what his show is about. And that is political commentary. And people should have the freedom of speech to make that commentary. I saw an interview with David Letterman where he was talking about that. From Jimmy Carter all the way to Barack Obama, they dug into all the presidents, and not once did they ever get a phone call from the FCC or any other federal agency threatening them over comments that they made. That's the biggest part about all of this, that everyone wants to say ABC reserves the right to pull Kimmel off the air over things that they don't like that he says. Maybe that's true. Because you're right, he is on a public broadcast airwave. Compared
if they wanted to, they could.
But that's not what happened. They got pressured by a federal agency. The U.S. government, whether it's for liberals or conservatives or whatever, should not ever get involved in public broadcast airwaves or otherwise in terms of, and I get that those are federally funded networks in times, but they should not get involved in terms of content on the air. That is up to the networks. And the whole thing with Nexstar and Sinclair, people are just ignorant to the truth behind the fact that they have pending business that they're trying to get done. They don't care about Kimmel's comments with Charlie Kirk.
No.
Or what's being provided to the communities around the country. So to me, this was an attack on freedom of speech.
I'd also argue that Kimmel's probably said worse on that show.
I'm sure. I would argue that Trump has said worse about Charlie Kirk.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm sure.
On television. He went on Fox. He was doing an interview, and I think it was with Megyn Kelly. Maybe not. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. And maybe it wasn't even Fox. Maybe it was on News Nation. But either way, he was saying, like, how you feel like about Charlie Kirk and everything. And he just, like, the way he downplays it. I mean, you know what it was? They were talking about Kimmel and freedom of speech and how Charlie Kirk championed freedom of speech. And he was like, yeah, I bet Charlie's not saying that right now. And I'm like, how is that not worse?
That's crazy.
Than what Kimmel said.
That is so disrespectful.
That is so much worse and so disrespectful.
It's not even a joke.
You know what I mean?
That's like, yeah, he's dead.
But I don't think he meant it as a joke. Like, I don't know. I just feel like that's crazy. And how is Donald Trump not being held to the... And you could say that about a billion other things that go on with Donald Trump. We're obviously focusing in on the lens of media here on this show. But, like, to me, how the hell are we not holding him and Fox and everyone to the same standards that you're trying to hold Jimmy Kimmel? I mean, when George Floyd died 5 years ago, we certainly saw people mocking him and everything, and, like, saying terrible, posting terrible things and racist things. Like, it is always the hypocrisy.
Before you get into your him review, can we mix up the order a little bit and talk Mando before that? Because I want to connect the Disney stuff with that.
Yes, I think I know exactly where you're going with that, but yes, we can do that.
Yeah. No, okay. So do you have any more about the Kimmel thing?
Well, yeah. No, I mean, I'm not. But it's just like I said. I had a thought, and I think I kind of lost it.
My bad.
It's okay. It's just, like I said, it's disheartening to me, and it's scary. And I think a lot of people need to wake up And I think a lot of people have. And it's great that Kimmel's getting his show back. It is. But I don't think that should be us ignoring what happened or moving past it, because you know this as well as I do, that the media cycle moves very quickly. People move past things very quickly. And I just feel like, it's great Kimmel's getting his show back, but it happened to Colbert too. And they try to say it's a financial decision. They try to say it's a ratings thing with Kimmel. It's not. It's corruption. It's the business thing.
They just need to start a podcast like Conan.
Well, they had a podcast.
Oh, really? Kimmel and Colbert had a podcast?
Kimmel, Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, Seth Meyers, and John Oliver had a podcast called Strike Force 5. It was during the writer's strike, and it was for them to be able to help, pay for their workers and keep their workers and their families, going stable.
They'd make bank if they had their own
strikes.
podcast. They didn't have to go through Disney or ABC.
Well, that's what, obviously after Conan, everything went down. You know what happened with Conan several years ago, right? He was given The Tonight Show. For anyone out there who doesn't know, Conan O'Brien was given The Tonight Show. And then Jay Leno promised him as the successor because Conan had the late night show. And then Jay Leno left and Conan gets the show for 10 months or whatever. And Jay Leno realized he wanted to come back. Then he, tried to get the Tonight Show back, and NBC basically fucked over Conan in the contract and they kicked him out of the show. And Conan left the public airwaves and he went to TBS and started Conan. And that was kind of like a big moment in late night as well, just in terms of showing that you can do it on some of these cable networks. It doesn't have to be on the public airwaves, because that's what I was trying to, people were trying to say, oh, everything about Fox. I don't know if you saw the thing with that Fox anchor. That's, I think, what I was the last big thing about is what he said before the Kimmel thing too. It's just crazy to me. He goes on Fox and says that homeless people should be killed. They should be euthanized by the U.S. government.
Holy shit.
If they don't cooperate.
Who is this guy?
Bill Keir something.
What, is a politician?
No, he's an anchor on Fox.
The news. Holy shit.
It's one of the anchors on Fox.
Bro's on TV all the time and starts talking about executing homeless people.
Anyway, yeah, I don't Bill or Bob or whatever, but so we went on there and said that, and no repercussions. He just had to
schizophrenic episode.
Just had to apologize. Meanwhile, Kimmel made those comments, gets his show suspended, and it's then I saw a clip of that same Fox News anchor a few days later. He's like, Kimmel went over the line, said something that was just too far, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You literally said homeless people should be euthanized by the government.
That is
a
crazy.
Couple days ago.
That is that's Holocaust level stuff. You just round up all these people and start executing them.
But that's what I'm saying.
Insane.
I don't know about you, but just this whole Charlie Kirk thing, we're living in such a mass psychosis all of a sudden. And it's just scary.
Yeah, I know. No, I know. It's a lot of hypocrisy going on.
And just I don't even know. So anyway, great that Kimmel's got his show back. But I just want to ask you, what do you think, before we move on to Mandalorian and Grogu, what do you think this means for late night moving forward? Yes, Kimmel gets a show back. Colbert hasn't. But there's a real threat here to that. And so you're saying start a podcast. Is that just where this is heading?
Well, okay. So I think there's two possibilities. I think all the hosts are going to just be like, fuck this. I'm going to say whatever I want. If I get fired, I get fired. Or they're going to play by the rules and be extra careful. And they're going to, be very, very calm and collected and not make risky jokes and stuff like that.
Right. Like Jimmy Fallon.
Exactly.
Jimmy Fallon is an apolitical show.
Yeah, I think they're either going to go one way or the other. They're going to band together and be like, fuck it, I'm going to say whatever I want. Or they're going to say, I'm not going to do anything that risks my job.
Right. But again, so Jimmy Fallon is the most apolitical talk show there is. It is like Johnny Carson of today in terms of he doesn't talk that kind of stuff. It really is just about the entertainment with him. Hell, he's had Donald Trump on that show before. I remember when he like did the whole hair.
Yeah, he still does his Trump impression.
And yet, Trump still was coming after Fallon too. And when you saw that tweet where you saw the whole Kimmel canceled thing, he was like, Seth Meyers and Jimmy Fallon are next. What the hell has Jimmy Fallon ever said about Donald Trump on his show? Not a goddamn word.
Jimmy's sitting at home like, that's what I'm saying.
Like, yeah, I know. He's probably sitting like when they saw what happened to Colbert and Kimmel, the rest of them are shitting on a pile, like they're sitting on a pile of shit bricks right now. They're so scared. Did you see Jon Stewart's episode that he came out with The Daily Show, where it was like an administratively like corporate sponsored episode, or like
what
state, like what's the word I'm trying to look for?
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Administratively like cooperative episode kind of deal, like state sponsored media kind of deal. Like he had all gold for Trump, and he was sitting there like all nervous. He was like, he did it ironically. He was like, nothing's going on, and how dare you do this, if that, like this and that. That's like our show right now.
I love Jon Stewart. I saw him.
This is our administratively cooperative.
I saw Jon Stewart do some comedy at in Jersey actually.
Really?
That's so he's great, man.
No, yeah, that's how I feel. We're just sitting here. We're like, no, Trump is great and everything's fine.
Yeah, that's how we feel. We're like, yeah, this guy's a fucking lunatic.
Charlie Kirk is the greatest thing since sliced bread. And
this podcast's gonna get canceled, man. Watch out.
No, it's fine. We'll get suspended for a week and we'll come back and we'll be like, yeah, Charlie, yeah, Donnie T.
It's wild, bro.
So, we'll see. I mean, you're right. It's probably going down the route of podcast for them. I mean, Conan's got his. It's great.
It is great. I love it.
We'll see. I'm going to be very interested to see Kimmel's remarks his first time back. So we'll see what happens. But just everyone needs to be aware of what actually happened. So I wanted to take the space on today's episode and this platform of ours because, Jack, what we do here is us exercising our freedom of speech every week.
Yeah, and we're not a political podcast, but this was important. We need to.
No, we're not.
But
at a certain point, I mean, one, it's media related, it's entertainment related. Jimmy Kimmel Live, it's television. But at a certain point, you can't ignore things anymore. You don't have to be a super political person, but at a certain point, you have to wake up and see what's going on around you, and that there's very dangerous rhetoric that gets pushed all the time, and that the government is involved in doing a lot of dangerous things. And this was a clear attack on freedom of speech, and Trump continues to pursue that attack of freedom of speech. And we have to be aware, and we have to fight back. And yeah, I'm a guy on a podcast, but like I said, this is us exercising our freedom of speech, and it cannot be lost on us to tell the truth to the listeners at home and to anyone else of what actually happened, because someday it could be us, not necessarily the podcast, but just in general. It could happen to anyone. If it happened to Jimmy Kimmel, it can happen to anyone.
We're not afraid to say how we feel. Like we're not going to be apolitical. Like we're no Jimmy Fallon.
No, we're no fucking Jimmy Fallon, okay? We're not just going to sit here and rub Donnie T's head, so.
I kind of wish I could, though. That would go kind of crazy.
I just wish I had,
I just don't know what it feels like, because I feel like it's very stringy,
You think his hair's stringy?
Yeah, like if I rubbed it, it's like cat hair almost,
Oh, cat hair. Yeah, I kind of see that. It's almost like fur.
Like it's like 4 just big strands of hair.
Dude, while we're talking about Trump's appearance, his fucking neck looks like a vagina. Oh, shit.
Like a bullfrog.
Yeah, what the?
All right, let's. Well, okay, so this is what I wanted to connect it with, because the trailer for The Mandalorian and Grogu came out today. We both watched it. Before we get into the trailer, I do just want to point out the convenient timing of the release of the trailer.
Oh,
everybody recently has been canceling their Disney Plus subscriptions, even people who work for Disney. I think Dave Bautista might have said something about canceling your Disney Plus subscription. I saw Tatiana Maslany, who plays She-Hulk, said cancel your subscriptions. I think Disney is now pushing out the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer because they're like, hey guys, remember, we have some cool stuff coming out. Don't forget your Disney Plus subscription.
Right. It's just like, hey, don't worry, Kimmel's back. Don't worry, guys. And,
and Star Wars, don't forget to watch the first 3 seasons.
Mandalorian and Grogu is coming out. Don't worry. What's funny about it is I think it was like there was a report that they've been sitting on this trailer since last week. It was supposed to come out last week. And it didn't because of Jimmy Kimmel and everything going on with that. Especially because Pedro Pascal has been very outwardly supportive of Kimmel and very critical of Disney.
But he's
the face of.
Yeah, he's Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, he's Mr. Fantastic and the Mandalorian. Yeah,
but I don't think he straight up said anything about Disney. All I saw was like, I stand with Kimmel. So maybe they're being a little more lenient with him because he's not straight up being like, cancel your subscription. And you can't fire Pedro Pascal, especially when he's got Avengers Doomsday coming up.
Well, what would they do? What does Disney care about more than anything else? Fucking money.
Pedro Pascal.
But why? Because money. Because he's making them a shit ton of money in all the franchises that he stars in.
So do you think it's not a coincidence?
No, not at all. I think the timing is a little bit of a coincidence at the start of it, but now they're saying like we gotta change and it's like we gotta change the news cycle. It's like I talked about it earlier in this episode. The news cycle changes fast in this day and age, and so they're definitely looking at this as like, hey guys, Mandalorian and Grogu, start your week off, and.
Like, you guys are talking about Disney. Why don't you talk about this instead?
I just want to emphasize, and obviously we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about other stuff before this episode's over. That's what we do. But I want to make something clear. Do not let the fucking Mandalorian and Grogu trailer or anything else, or even Kimmel's return, distract you from what happened in the first place, that it was an attack on free speech, that Donald Trump is trying to usher in an authoritarian approach to his presidency, or worse, an even fascist approach to it. So, like, people need to be aware and alert and need to fight back on these things. So, just don't let that distract you, because you're right. They definitely did that on purpose.
It's really funny because Star Wars is all about like fighting up against the Empire and rebelling.
Right. They fucking released a show called Andor that's about this exact thing that is happening.
What'd you think of the trailer?
And I just want to say, someone who was protesting outside Disney had a sign that said that, by the way. About
really?
Andor.
Like fight against the Empire or something?
No. I had a sign that said, your show Andor is literally about this.
Oh, shit. That's cool.
Like, while the Jimmy Kimmel suspended. So I just wanted to throw that out there, because I didn't even think about that. You're right. Andor is literally fucking about this. Star Wars is a lot about this, and they do it. They're such fucking hypocrites.
That's why I was saying, like, while we're talking about Disney, we might as well just mention the Star Wars.
No, you're so right.
Because it's so interconnected.
You're right. I didn't even think about the Andor side of it, because Andor, and especially season 2, was about that and silencing people. Think about the whole Gorman massacre and then the speech Mon Mothma gives and everything like that. So, anyway.
So the trailer for Mandalorian and Grogu came out.
Yes.
What'd you think?
It was fun.
It got me a little more hyped for it. I was never hyped for this movie, but now it looks, at least I know it looks cool.
It looked fine, though. I don't even think it looked that good.
Really? I thought it had some cool visuals, like the AT-AT.
That was cool.
These cool,
like, the AT-AT like crashing off the cliff was cool. The monsters were okay. The fighting looked, the jets looked a little weird to me. The ships looked a little weird to me. I don't know.
I don't like his ship. I don't like how he has he has the Razor Crest back instead of the Starfighter that he had in season 2 and 3.
Yeah, and the color grading felt really washed to me.
Yeah, it does. And I do like how we're getting some more Hutts. I don't even remember what their like species is called. Maybe it is Hutt. I don't fucking know. But one of them is voiced by Jeremy Allen White.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
It's so funny.
I totally forgot about that.
It's like a gladiator ring, so you see Mando fighting some people. I just think it's going to be a really long episode of The Mandalorian, but with a higher budget.
Pretty much. And like the thing is especially after season 3, I just don't really care anymore.
Season 3 sucked.
It was okay at first, and then it like kind of went downhill. I did enjoy seeing Christopher Lloyd though in season 3.
I did too, which was a terrible episode, but I'm glad we saw him. I I'm just glad Star Wars is going back to movies because I'm sick of 6 hours of television when I can watch 2 hours of movie and have it just be better.
Right. I mean, I think in general, Star Wars and Marvel should focus on films over television content anyway. And there
Yeah.
hasn't been a Star Wars movie since 2019. So.
Yeah, but we've gotten so much Star Wars
Or
content.
not 20. No, yeah, 2019. Yeah. That's when The Rise of
29
Skywalker came out. Like December of 2019.
Yeah. Damn, that was the last movie?
That's the last Star Wars movie to come out.
Yeah, you're right.
So I totally agree. Like,
Yeah,
it's time.
I just want
but
them to go back to it.
And
This
I'm
isn't the
excited.
right.
I'm like excited in the sense of like, you know, yeah, I'm excited, I guess. I love Star Wars. I love Star Wars. It just, nothing in the trailer. There was nothing in the trailer that actually got me like, oh shit, yeah. And it's a teaser, you know, and everything I'm saying about the editing, the color grading, you know, there's still time. It comes out May of 2026. So they're still working on it, obviously. And I get all that. Maybe it'll look better. I'm sure there will be more trailers to come out that'll get me more excited. But as of right now,
maybe
I was just like, all
more
right.
Sigourney Weaver in those trailers, maybe?
Yeah, like that's someone who was cool to see. I would love to see more of her.
Zeb from Rebels, like doing some action shots. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, there's just nothing that really stuck out to me, though.
I would like some character arc for Grogu, considering the only arc we've ever gotten from him was in the Book of Boba Fett when he's like with Luke and training with Luke.
Yeah,
I know he's a fucking baby, but he's just gonna like do nothing the whole movie and then like use the Force every now and then. I would like a little character development or somehow. I don't know how you do it, but
they just fucked up this whole thing, this whole story anyway with them. That's why it's like,
I know
it could be a good
movie.
It should have ended at season 2, or at least like, okay, you could do the reunion maybe later down the line or something, but like, I feel like doing their reunion in a different show in the Book of Boba Fett was obviously one of the biggest mistakes that they could have made. Not even just to say the show wasn't good, but to do such a major plot point for The Mandalorian in a different show was kind of egregious on their part.
I feel bad for I feel bad for the guy who plays Boba Fett, Tamora Morrison. Like, the best part of his show was the part that he wasn't even in.
He also, he got totally sidetracked in that show. Like, you know, halfway through, and then it just kind of became Mandalorian season 2.5.
I think it would have been so much better if season 2 ends the same way it does. Book of Boba Fett happens with no Mando, no Grogu, and season 3 of Mando is him by himself. Maybe you could hint at Grogu a little bit, but then they reunite in The Mandalorian and Grogu.
I agree. Mando could have been in the Book of Boba Fett, but doing the big stuff Grogu. With turning the focus of the attention to have him practically be the lead for a whole episode and like having his reunion with Grogu, it was just too weird. I don't know. It was just too much of a weird place to do that.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't done right.
Season 3 of Mando could have had every episode focused on Mando, and then every now and then you show Grogu training with Yoda, and
maybe have the episodes focus on both of them, like they're two plots just apart, and then
maybe they reunite at the end of season 3, or they don't reunite till Mando and Grogu. But it's just a stupid plot point for Book of Boba Fett. The movie looks fine. It's not. I mean, I'm not really excited for anything Star Wars related except for that Darth Maul show, but we'll see how it is. You know?
Yeah. So, all right. Well, that's that.
Yeah.
So. Early in the episode, we did the box office numbers. We talked about what finished number 1 in the box office, and that was the new film Him that came to theaters this past weekend. It is starring Tariq Withers and Marlon Wayans and Julia Fox, directed by Justin Tipping. It's about an up-and-coming football quarterback prospect named Cameron Cade, who suffers a potentially career-ending brain injury, like a head injury. He receives a lifeline, so he misses the draft combine. He receives a lifeline when his hero and legendary 8-time winning champion quarterback, Isaiah White, offers to train him at his isolated compound, out in the middle of fucking nowhere. and this training accelerates and shit starts to get really fucking weird. So I'm going to give my spoiler review. I know you don't give a shit, so I'm going to give my spoiler review for him. If you don't want spoilers for him, skip ahead to the next chapter of the episode. I'll give my ratings as well, of course. I give this 3 just what the fucks am I watching out of 10. Jack, you were right about this one. I'm gonna give you that one. You were right about this one.
I'll tell you right now, I haven't seen the movie, so you're gonna do a lot of the talking, but
there's not much talking to do.
I saw the first trailer and I go, oh, that looks interesting. And then I saw the second trailer, I go, that looks like fucking shit. I'm not seeing that. And then I might have been right that second time.
And sometimes you might say that and you might be wrong about it, but this time you were right.
Damn.
It was not fucking good. It didn't really make any sense half the time. So it's interesting to me because this was Jordan Peele has his name on this movie as a producer, and this is coming off the heels of him not being a producer of Weapons, losing out on Weapons, as like a film for his company. And then we also get the news that, and then him comes out, not good. Then we get the news that his 4th personal film, that we talked about this on the podcast, it was removed from Universal's calendar for next year. So it's indefinitely coming out right now. It's in stagnation. What's going on with Jordan Peele?
He's slacking, man.
I don't know what's going on. You have Get Out, masterpiece. Us, near masterpiece. Nope, masterpiece. And now all of a sudden, and he did Monkey Man. He was a producer from a producer standpoint. Monkey Man was great. Maybe not masterpiece, but it was great.
And you're in the minority for saying Nope was a masterpiece, by the way. I've seen the reviews for that. It's not. People say that's his worst film.
I wouldn't say a lot of people call it a masterpiece, but I do think a lot of people still really like it. It is a little more divisive, but I wouldn't say by and far everyone agrees it's his worst film. The only thing I think the only thing Jordan Peele fans seem to really agree on is that Get Out tends to seem like his best. Like that is like truly like that is a film that like redefines American cinema, in my opinion. And Us and Nope don't do that. But anyway, what's going on with Jordan Peele? That's what I was wondering watching this, because I don't have a lot to even say. Oh, and also we talked about this too. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He lost out on that.
Oh yeah.
He didn't get the bid. The bid went to A24 and Glenn Powell.
That could be cool. I don't hate that.
We'll see what happens.
We did make predictions.
But Jordan Peele, I don't know. So him, this was just weird. It was like a cult. I don't really know what was going on. Basically, I'm going to just get into the spoiler of like what the whole point of the movie was, because I don't have much else to talk about, like truthfully. And I know I'm always the rambler, but the whole thing was supposed to be like he was groomed from childhood to be the quarterback for a team. Like that was supposed to be the idea. And that they have this like blood thing that like they have like they have a ritual where they like put blood of their predecessors into each one, and it gives them like the ability to like be the best of all time, be the GOAT. And so Isaiah White, the Marlon Wayans character, it turns out like that was him, and before him it was someone else, and so on and so forth. And Cameron Cade's like, what the fuck? That's fucking weird, obviously. Like, I don't want to do that. Yeah, and like it turned out
crazy.
But like the whole thing was like his agent was in on it, and it turned out he had been like groomed from the very start. And they just tried to include weird things, like at the end of the thing that they're like trying to do the ceremony. He kills Isaiah White. There can only be one of them. Fucking stupid. He's like, oh, Isaiah White wants to. Yeah, so he like fucking kills him, and they all have these like weird like Squid Game looking fucking helmets on, like masks to cover their faces for no reason, because he knows who they are. Like he recognizes their voices. The whole thing was so stupid. It was actually kind of
Somebody check
garbage.
Tom Brady's blood right now.
Yeah, facts. Like that's kind of what it was like.
Definitely killed somebody.
I just was watching this and I was just like, I don't want to say it's the Mossy Stone thing where there's a great movie underneath. I wouldn't say there's a great movie underneath. What I would say is there's a great idea underneath of doing a horror idea of like a football player and like training and everything, and like maybe even introducing paranormal elements, or not necessarily paranormal, but like the cult thing. But it's
the
just
cult
like,
idea with American football, because it's almost, in some places it is a cult. Like people are obsessed with sports and obsessed with football and their team specifically,
especially college football too.
Exactly. So like that is a really good idea, but clearly not executed very well.
It was just not executed very well. It was just very boring and confusing, and kind of shitty looking. And so I don't even have much else to say about it. I just wanted to.
It just sucks.
It just kind of sucks. I probably should have made this my seesaw and taken my saw from seesaw and made that the segment. I would have had more to fucking say about that. But yeah, so that's him. It was stupid. At one point he calls himself Timothy Chalamet, and I was like, bro.
That's pretty funny. That's so stupid.
I'm looking at my notes to see if I have anything else that I want to say. Oh, it was like a day by day of like his fucking training. It was like day 1 fun, and then by day 6 it was like sacrifice. It was like, oh shit, all right, fucking
damn, dude.
Oh, I almost forgot. The fucking worst. This is the last thing I have to say about this. The shittiest movies have the best giveaways. Not only do I have this poster back here.
Is that for the football team in the movie?
Yeah, so I'm going to show you because it's double-sided.
I was wondering what that was. I thought it was like your home team or some shit.
No, so God Bless the Saviors, that's the name of the team. And then there was one on the back too.
Lone Star Larry. That's pretty cool.
But it wasn't just a poster. It would be cool enough if it was just a poster. It wasn't just that. The poster came, like, you know when you go to a sporting event and they have like sports like guides like for the team and the season and stuff. It came with a fake sports guide for the fucking team.
Like a schedule. And
so half of it is just shit like this, where it's just like pictures of like, but there is like, so this is the next page, blah blah blah. So like I'll show you the ones that aren't like that though. It has pictures of them from the movie.
Okay.
But it literally, so at first it has this, which is
the bobbleheads.
That's
funny.
And
I don't know if those actually exist.
There's the schedule, and it like made up teams that they don't actually talk about in the movie.
Wait, that's kind of cool. That's effort. Like at least you could appreciate that.
Effort for such a shitty movie, but yeah.
Maybe put more effort into the actual movie.
They named the New York team the New York Tycoons.
That sucks.
They had a Compton team. The Compton Gauchos.
That also sucks.
Dude, most of these suck. The Los Angeles Legends.
That's boring.
The Michigan Gearheads. Why wouldn't they be Detroit? The Seattle Sailors is kind of cool. I like the alliteration. It's all right. It doesn't suck. But Philadelphia Freedom. It's a song. It's an Elton John song. New Mexico Natives.
That seems racy. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's like Washington Redskin, Cleveland Indian.
Yeah, I don't know if you could put that there.
The Atlanta Masons, the Minnesota Moccasins.
These all are trash.
The Arizona Arrowheads.
That's all right.
Yeah. The San Francisco Destiny.
That's fine.
Yeah. Oakland Liberation. Oh, this one's kind of cool, but I have no idea what city it's supposed to be. The Southern Serpents.
That is cool. Maybe it's like South Dakota or some shit.
Yeah, what the fuck is that? Colorado Crockett's. Oh, like Jiminy Crockett.
That sounds like shit.
And then Compton Gauchos and New York Tycoons. Yeah, that's stupid.
Well, that's a cool giveaway.
Yeah, I think that was about it. Oh, and then they had the poster. They had this where it was supposed to be like season ticket holder thing. Like a season ticket holder page. So yeah, it was pretty cool. I just wanted to shout that out. Oh yeah, and then they had this. I mean, they had like a whole fake interview in here.
Baby goat. That's crazy. Dude, you're like a kid on Christmas. You're like, oh my God, what's next?
Because I forgot about this. I haven't opened it since I got it. So
yeah.
I'm like, oh, and you know what? They also had like their stats and everything.
So that is actually sick.
So they really did go into
like
depth. They really did go into depth. And then here is Marlon Wayans to like close it out.
Handsome fella.
Yeah. I'll see if I can get him up here, actually. Probably. Kinda. If that falls, it falls.
Yeah, I don't like how he's just staring at me, but it's fine.
Well, you know.
And the audience.
You don't like how I stare at you.
That's true. Yeah, so that's everything about him.
Yes,
I'm not seeing that shit.
No, you shouldn't. Moving on, just some news to end this episode this week. Other news that is not Jimmy Kimmel, or him, I guess. The first one being Tom Holland. So Tom Holland reportedly fell and cracked open his head while filming Spider-Man Brand New Day, suffered a mild concussion and was taken to the hospital. A stunt performer also suffered minor injuries and they had to halt filming currently. So, it is currently on delay. Probably won't like affect the actual release of the movie too much, but of course the important thing right now is that hopefully Tom Holland is okay.
I heard that he was like out and about a little bit after. I don't know if that was fake or not, but I did hear he was like someone saw
like
him
after the incident.
After the incident, like a couple days ago, I heard that like he was at a charity event or something.
Right. I mean, but you know, I'm sure, especially because he does a lot of his own stunts and everything, so I'm sure that's different than like filming.
Yeah, I also do think his dad, I think it was his dad. I saw something online also. I should have had this ready, but
look how much prep Jack does.
I know. I think
podcast.
His dad said like, yeah, Tom's going to stop filming for a couple weeks and just like get right.
That makes sense. I mean, they literally described it. Those were not my words. Cracked his head open. Like
that's disgusting.
You know, I just hope he's okay.
If anything about Avengers Doomsday gets delayed, maybe.
Well, they said they finished filming,
so that
I don't think he's in it. Honestly.
I don't think he's in it either. And they finished filming with no set leaks, which is also insane.
Right. We'll see how good that movie still fucking looks when it comes out. Or
no, that sucks for Tom.
First movie in history to be finished filming when the script is still not done. But
I know. But that does suck for Tom Holland. I'm sure he's okay. I mean,
right. And if we get any news about Brand New Days, you know, if it ever gets delayed or anything as of a result, we'll pass it on, of course. Yeah. But that comes second to Tom Holland and his health.
Yeah. So you know, speaking of superheroes, we got a actual description of what the Supergirl movie is going to be. So on Letterboxd, the description for Supergirl, it's actually pretty interesting. It says the tagline is "Look out." And it says, while celebrating her 21st birthday, Kara Zor-El travels across the galaxy with her dog Crypto, during which she meets the young Ruthie Mary Knoll and goes on a murderous quest for revenge. People are saying that like Crypto's gonna get fucked up because what could possibly get Supergirl as pissed off to go on a murderous quest for revenge if someone doesn't just beat the shit out of Crypto?
I mean, I hope not to see that, but you know, we'll find out, and you know, it'll be interesting to see like how they implement, because we know James Gunn is not afraid to avoid a full-on backstory and origin in this universe. So it'll be interesting to see how he just dives right into her and like maybe implement pieces of her backstory that we need to learn as she goes on this mission, what could be maybe like a John Wick-esque kind of film almost.
That would be cool. And you know, murderous quest for revenge is in quotes, so I don't really know what that means. I also don't know who this Ruthie Mary Knoll is. Also, it's spelled very weirdly, so I don't know if
I'm sure the big comic nerds out there can tell us, but I don't know who that is either.
So I'm assuming that's going to be the villain, but I have no idea who that is, so maybe not. Or maybe a side character that helps out or drives the plot. But I just thought it was interesting that we actually have some news about it. You know,
yeah.
Considering then, we have no news about
anything else. I wonder if
else.
like Superman will show up at the end of that or something. Maybe like in a post-credit scene.
Or maybe at the beginning, you know, maybe during. I don't know. He'll probably be. I can't imagine he's not around.
I just can't imagine it would be for too long because they're not going to want to take the attention away from Super.
Yeah, you're right. Like, if you put Supergirl in a Superman movie, I think people think it's cool, and it is what it is. But if you put Superman in a Supergirl movie, people are like,
yeah,
holy
you're gonna be
shit,
like,
it's
what,
Superman.
Superman? Like, yeah, everyone's like, who's Supergirl? So,
so it sounds cool though.
anyway.
I'm excited.
Well, that's that. One last thing before we wrap this up.
Sure.
It's time to play the music, Jack. It's time to light the lights. It's time to meet the Muppets because they're coming back next year. Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg,
of course,
off their Emmy success with the studio, have announced that they are reviving The Muppet Show as a special event on Disney Plus, guest starring Sabrina Carpenter next year.
All right, I guess everyone's got to buy their subscriptions back.
Yeah, right? Don't worry, guys. It's like Disney said, Kimmel's back. We can all put our heads back in the sand now. It's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's okay. No, very exciting nonetheless, though. You know, like all the stuff in the world aside, just from an entertainment standpoint, I feel like The Muppets is an IP that Disney has been severely underappreciating or underutilizing in their last several years. And so, and when they have used them, it's been they just don't know how to use them. Like they tried to do that adult version of The Muppet Show and it was not really good. And like, it's great because I think Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, who clearly based on the studio understand how the industry works. I just think that they are very smart and like intuitive people, you know, to the culture. And I think they understand and will do it right.
I think they do too. And they're very passionate about everything they do, it seems like. And they always I mean, Seth Rogen is carrying so much of entertainment these days. I know you love the studio, but you know, he's behind Invincible and The Boys and all this cool stuff that we love. My one concern is Sabrina Carpenter. I love Sabrina Carpenter. I think she's great. I a few of her songs, I you know, she's got some good shit. Is that the right person to do for a show marketed for children? Children who have iPhones who can easily Google Sabrina Carpenter songs and listen to her talking about getting fucked?
Obviously, she's not going to be able to necessarily sing some of those things on the show, but like, you know, I don't see why she can't also market. I mean, she came up as a Disney Channel actress and singer.
I know she did.
So even though she's kind of altering her image a little bit, I don't see why she can't still market herself back towards that way. I don't think every song of hers is sexual in nature. I don't listen to every song, but like
every song I have heard has been.
I mean, man, I don't know, but
there, you know, I mean, a new one that just came out this year. She talks about how wet she gets when she thinks of you, like that.
Does she say that like with those words?
that's the exact almost the exact lyrics. No, she says I'm so wet when I think about you, like that. I'm pretty sure those are the exact words.
All right, yeah, well,
but it's, you know, if she could cater to the kids and stuff, it's fine. I don't really have a problem with it. I just do think that I'm concerned for how the parents are going to react because there's been some dumbass parents that they bring their kids to a Sabrina Carpenter concert and then they're like, this is inappropriate. Like, dude, you brought her there. You should know what your kid's listening to. You should know what she sings about. But on the other hand, you put on Disney Plus to watch the Muppets with your kid, and your kid goes, you know, maybe they're like 8 years old. They have a phone. They can do whatever they want because kids are born with a fucking cell phone. And they Google Sabrina Carpenter songs. They're like, I really like this girl. Let me Google her. And it's like her talking about doing doggy style and getting pregnant. And it's like, yeah, I do see where the concern may lie.
No, I get what you're saying. I just think that the responsibility lies on the parent.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not like you're watching Cocomelon and then a fucking bomb explodes in the middle of nowhere. Like,
no, you are right. The parents should mediate what their kid looks up in Google.
One, it's the Muppets, and there's always been a bit of a crossing of that boundary between it's not really for kids, it's for families. And I do think that there's a bit of a distinction.
There is, because it's got stuff for adults are into also.
For kids and for like Cocomelon's for kids. You know, Bluey's for kids, but the Muppets are for the family. Everyone in the family can enjoy the Muppets. And so I feel like when it's specifically like, you know how the old Muppet Show used to work. The old Muppet Show came out in 1979 originally, ran for like 5 years or whatever. They would have almost like SNL where they would have weekly guests come on and they would do different sketches and different things with the Muppets. It was really cool. They would perform. I don't know if they're bringing it back full time like that. They should, but even so, I doubt it. They should. There's no reason not to. What else are you doing with the Muppets? But like, I do think that, you know, they're saying it's Sabrina Carpenter. You know what Sabrina Carpenter is about. You know what the Muppets are about. At that point, the responsibility, in my opinion, falls on the parent to monitor and regulate like what your child is watching. I don't think they're going to do anything overly inappropriate on the show, but
No,
still,
I don't.
like,
I
that's
agree.
on the parent.
I agree. I think they'll keep it clean and they'll keep it appropriate on the show. And Sabrina Carpenter will do amazing. She is really fantastic at what she does. And I do think the parent, if the kid goes, "Hey, I want to listen to Sabrina Carpenter music," the parent has to say no. You know, and do your research before you let your kids Google things or go on YouTube or listen to music. And I just wonder how it's going to affect how long the show lasts, though. Because if parents are like, I don't want to even have that conversation with my kid, or I don't think this person should be representing the Muppets or whatever, I do think that will have an effect on how that show is received.
She wouldn't. That's why I don't know if it's like a weekly thing, because she wouldn't be on every week.
No, you know,
the real Muppet Show would have someone new on every week. So
maybe she'll like the intro music or something. I don't know.
I think it's just like maybe a special event. Again, Disney, if you ever see this, you watch the box office, Bob Iger, if you watch the box office Dynasty.
He does.
You know, make it a weekly show. That's what the people want.
He's a friend of the show, Bob
Iger. Friend of the show. He calls in regularly. But no, I mean, like, you know, I think it'll be fine. And that goes for anything you watch. Like, I know, like, a show like Family Guy, kids would watch. I mean, I probably watched it a little younger than I should have, but still, my parents didn't mind, and that's down to the parents. It's like,
it really is.
You could be mad at, like, Seth MacFarlane and Family Guy for making the show, or you can do a better job as a parent in making sure that you're tracking and monitoring what your children are looking up and watching.
Yeah, I mean, like, some people, I mean, look at, like, Bob Saget, you know, like America's Dad, Full House. Kids watch that stuff. But look at his stand-up comedy.
That's a great point.
His stand-up comedy talks about dick and balls and sex and, like, way worse shit that I probably should not say on this podcast, like criminal shit that he makes jokes about. And it's, you know, they separate it. So there's a way to separate it, and it's just really up to the parents to make sure that there is that separation.
Right. And Sabrina Carpenter is extremely talented. And I think that she could have just as incredible of a career as an actress as a singer. Obviously, she came up, I said, as a Disney Channel actress. She does primarily singing, but like then I see the work she does on SNL. You know, she was part of the 50th anniversary special. She's hosted. They announced that she's doing double duty as host and musical guest in one of the first few episodes.
Yeah.
If SNL is still allowed to be on air by that time. So point being, she's extremely talented, and I think she's capable of making those adjustments for the right audience.
Yeah, and the Muppets are coming back. That's pretty chill.
Yeah, I love the Muppets. This got a little away from them, but like I grew up as a big fan of the Muppets, seen all the movies, and I've seen a bunch of episodes of the show. And like I said, I think that that's something that's really lacking in our culture today and in our entertainment. And Disney has that IP, and I think they should be doing more with it. And so it's great to see this news.
Man or Muppet is still goated.
Dude, honestly, didn't that win, like, the Oscar?
Oh, yeah. Yo, it totally did.
Like, didn't that win?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it did. So, what a great song. All right. That's it.
All right. We're moving on to our final thing of the day, which is Seesaw.
Seesaw.
You guys already know.
Why don't you go first?
Yeah, I'll go first because it's whatever. I talked about I think it was last time, that I wanted to see, which I now saw, Warfare. I watched Warfare a couple days ago, you know, came out in 2025. I want to watch as many 2025 movies as I can before the year's over. I expected more. I thought it was good. I thought it was kind of boring at times. Like, there was just a lot of standing around talking, and the suspense was good too, but I think I just expected more. So I had a good time. I think I gave it like a 7.3 out of 10 or something like that. It was fine. And something I want to see, which also goes into something else that I saw, is I've been rewatching all the Ice Age movies with my girlfriend, and we just watched the first two. We're going to watch the third one in a couple days. I've never seen the fourth one. I've never seen the fifth one, and now there's a sixth one, which was announced. And it's really funny because I looked at your review of the second one, and you were like, I can't, or maybe the third one, you were like, I can't believe they're making another one of these. And little did you know that there'd be 3 more coming after it.
Dude, I remember when I saw the 5th one.
I never saw it. They go to fucking space, apparently.
Yeah, they do. I saw the first half of it, and I remember being like, because the 4th one sucks. Like,
I never saw the 4th one either.
The 4th one really is not that good. And I remember watching the 5th one. The first half, I was like, and this was whenever it came out, and I was like, wow, like this actually isn't that bad. And then it just takes such a sudden and sharp turn. And I can almost vaguely remember it too in the movie. Damn. And it was just like the rest of it after that was like, what the fuck?
Well, I want to see the 5th one only because of how absurd it sounds.
No, you should.
And I want to see the 6th one. The 6th one's called Boiling Point. So, maybe lava, rising volcanoes or some shit. I don't know.
Dude, these are like Diary of a Wimpy Kid names.
There's always there's always a world-ending event in each one of these movies, and then they just survive and then they just go to the next event.
Yeah.
But my point is that I watched the first 2, and growing up, I only saw the first 3, and the first one was always my least favorite of the original 3. And I loved the second one, and the third one was always my favorite. It's got dinosaurs in it, and I can't wait to rewatch it. But I watched the second one, and I didn't like it as much as the first. And I always remember liking it a lot more than the first one because it had those cool fish, that were jumping around and chasing through the ice.
Is the second one the one with the pirate or no?
No, that's the 4th one. The second one's the meltdown with the flood.
Yeah. Okay.
So when I was rewatching the first one, it was so goddamn funny. With the amount of jokes that are like geared towards adults, it was so funny. And then the second one wasn't really like that. It had some fine. I think the second one was trying too hard. In the first 10 minutes, they said crap, ass, and damn. And later on, Manny tells Ellie she has a fat ass. He literally says, you have a big butt and I like it. And she goes, oh, thanks. Like, I think they were trying too hard to cater to the adults, but in the first one it was nice and subtle and funny. And the second one just didn't hit the way it used to. So yeah. I'm kind of nervous to watch the third one again. I hope it holds up.
Yeah, hopefully it's not too nostalgia-driven of a memory, but I'm sure there are criticisms of it.
Yeah, because the third one was always my favorite, but now so far the first one is, so we'll have to see.
For me, it was always first and third. It was just the 2 were kind of heads and shoulders above the rest.
Yeah, and I heard the 4th one sucks, and I heard the 5th one sucks, and the 6th one, not gonna lie, probably gonna suck. Except, let me throw this out there, after watching the first one, I did say to my girlfriend, I said they should bring this baby back. Have the next movie be about them being chased down by a pack of humans or something, or humans are somehow involved in the plot, and the baby comes back as an adult, and he remembers Manny and Sid and Diego, and he's like, these are the guys that saved me, and he
which he totally wouldn't actually remember.
No, I know, but how cool would that be if he comes back?
That would be cool. That would be really, really cool.
So that's my plot for the next one, hopefully, but that's definitely not going to happen.
That was like when Crosby and I wrote Thor: Love and Thunder before Thor: Love and Thunder happened.
I know, and it was so much better than what we got.
And it was so much better than what we actually got, yeah.
So that's my seesaw.
No, that's cool. So anyway, something that I saw recently, last week I talked about Akira Kurosawa. And so I ventured a little further into that. I didn't watch any of the films that I mentioned on the Seesaw last week. What I watched was his movie High and Low because of Spike Lee's remake that came out this year called Highest to Lowest,
right.
which I also watched. So that's my Saw for this week. Basically, what the premise of them is about is that a businessman gets his son kidnapped. But it actually turns out that the kidnapper kidnapped the wrong child. They kidnapped his chauffeur's son instead of his son.
What a mistake.
And so now he is faced with a moral dilemma of should he pay for the ransom of the other person's son? Because the person's still demanding it. And
which one was better?
That's come on. Kurosawa's is better.
Well, Spike Lee's pretty good.
Yeah, Spike Lee's obviously Spike Lee, but Akira Kurosawa's High and Low, which by the way, you talked about the top 250 list on Letterboxd. It's number 6.
Damn.
6.
I don't think I've ever seen anything in the top 10.
You've never seen 12 Angry Men? Oh, wait,
No.
you've never seen The Shawshank Redemption?
Well, I didn't know that was in top 10. What number is that?
8.
Oh, I've seen it.
Yeah. And you've never seen The Godfather Part 2?
Never seen any Godfathers.
Dude, how do you have a movie podcast?
Keep
What
talking about
the
your fucking
fuck?
movie. Keep talking.
Oh my god, you gave Get Out a 7 out of 10. Oh, high and low, but that's basically the Kurosawa is fantastic. Truly, like high and low. I was really doing this for highest to lowest, but like there's not enough words to describe this guy's fucking genius, because like this really sets the standard for all procedural films and just what a thriller in general can kind of look like and feel like, and just the way he moves the camera, uses the camera as like a tool to be part of the storytelling and not just like a mirror for it. It was fantastic. There is so much inspiration for many movies that came from this, like Pulp Fiction and different things. Hell, there's a scene like watching this that you're telling me you can't find inspiration of it in Matt Reeves' The Batman, and I'll leave it at that. And like I'm just like this film's relevance will outlive my own as a person.
Damn, that's kind of depressing.
Like, maybe.
But that's art. Guess. That's how art works.
That's how art does work. This movie is truly that. And so anyway, highest to lowest, Spike Lee's remake. In the original version, it's like a shoe salesman. In this, it's Denzel Washington, and he's a big-time music producer. And it was pretty good. It was pretty entertaining. They did make some changes. It didn't totally fuck up the story. I just felt like for a Spike Lee movie, for a Spike Lee joint, it felt very stiff. It felt very much like there were some weird choices, like it took on different identities throughout. And like, I don't know, I didn't totally vibe with it all the time. I found the film entertaining. It was fun. I think it was really cool as a Yankee fan to see how much Spike put his love for the Yankees in. Like the best scene in this movie, there's this whole sequence where they're trying to chase the kidnapper, who's played by A$AP Rocky, the fucking rapper, through like the subway on the way to the Yankee game, and then through the Yankee Stadium like concourse and subway area. That's cool. It was so sick. It was one of my favorite sequences of a movie all year, I think. One, not like better than, the Sinners one and stuff like that, but like it was up there. But not as much going on otherwise, and so it was fun. I enjoyed it. It made me laugh out loud. Ice Spice was in the movie for some reason. She had like one scene. But yeah, I wouldn't go too much further. I do think it's worth the watch. I definitely think you should watch it. But to be honest, obviously High and Low is the better movie. You obviously, because it's High and Low's in Japanese and everything, this is English, it's Spike Lee, you'll probably have more fun with the remake.
Probably.
But I think you will acknowledge, like, man, the way the first movie does it is just unprecedented, especially for its time. It came out in 1963. It was the year before the Americanization of Emily, for God's sakes.
Damn.
Great stuff. Anyway, so that was my Saw. Holy shit, I got really into that. My C is quick. My C is one battle after another. Comes out next week. The reviews for this movie, people are saying it's the most radical political thriller of the century, that it's going to be the front runner for Best Picture at the Oscars. It has so much steam underneath it right now.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised. Paul Thomas Anderson is one of the GOATs, and he's teaming up with DiCaprio. It looks great. But apparently this is, like, all across the board, Jack. Everyone in every, like, Rotten Tomatoes, IGN, and IGN is usually fucky, Letterboxd, like, everyone is saying that this movie is it. This is the fucking movie. So, like, I'm so pumped. I cannot wait for us to talk about it.
Yeah, we'll be reviewing it. I'm probably seeing it this weekend, so.
Well, I'm going away on Thursday. I won't be back till Saturday down to the Baltimore and DC area, so I'm not going to get to see it until, like, Sunday. I'll be able to see it before our next episode. We're definitely reviewing it on our next episode.
Yeah,
it's probably going to be most of the episode, but yeah, I'm just so excited for it.
Well, that's hype, dude. I want to see it too, so I'm excited for that too.
Yeah.
And then we'll review Ice Age Boiling Point in like 2027.
I wanted to say this about Ice Age. Didn't they say like Scrat was going to have a kid in that one or some shit? I thought I saw something about that.
Scrat fucks, so he probably.
Yeah, I think Scrat has a fucking kid and fucks.
And he does fuck. We know he fucks.
Dude, I mean, we know how much he loves nuts, so he's got some nuts of his own.
All right, well, that is the end of the episode on that note. Thank you guys for watching and sticking around and enduring this episode. It's not enduring though, because it was just great. But
Jack's like, it sucked. I was so bored the whole time.
No, it's just like, I know people don't love to talk about politics, but like, it was a necessary conversation. So like, if you are here and you're listening, like, you're a real one, and we appreciate you. And make sure to comment, the box office. Nope, that's not it. Make sure to comment the Bible study numbers for the film Bible movies, and follow us and like and subscribe and comment and do all that shit at Box Office Dynasty on everything we're on. We're on all different platforms, probably every platform you can think of. And any last words, Josh?
Banana peel.
All right. See you.